All right, let's talk about something we've all felt. You know, that social dread that creeps in right after you've had a chat with someone new? That little voice in your head that just starts picking everything apart? Well, it turns out that voice is usually dead wrong, and there's a fascinating scientific reason for it.
Oh yeah, you've definitely been there. You walk away from what seemed like a totally fine conversation, maybe with a new colleague or someone you met at a party, and instead of feeling good about it, your brain immediately launches a full-blown investigation, searching for every tiny mistake you think you made.
These are the greatest hits of our post-conversation anxiety, right? This internal monologue can be so loud and, honestly, so convincing that it completely rewrites the reality of what just happened. But what if I told you there's a predictable glitch in our social software that causes all of this?
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll name that post-conversation hangover. Then, we'll look at the actual science that proves your brain is kind of lying to you. And then, the best part, we'll get into 3 practical, actionable solutions to fix it before we wrap it all up. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, first up, let's put a real name to this feeling. Because it's more than just being shy or awkward, it's a very specific kind of social second-guessing. And believe it or not, researchers have been studying it for years.
And here it is. It's called the liking gap. It's this scientifically proven space between how much you think someone liked you versus how much they actually did. And here's the kicker. We almost always get it wrong in the same direction. We assume they liked us way less than they really did.
So now, let's pit your brain against the actual science. Because this isn't just a hunch or some feel-good idea, it is a solid, repeatable finding across a ton of studies. And this, my friends, is where it gets really interesting.
Just look at this. This visualizes the gap perfectly. In these studies, researchers had strangers just chat with each other. Afterwards, they'd rate how much they liked their partner and, crucially, how much they thought their partner liked them. That gray bar, the actual liking, is always higher than the white bar, which is what people perceived. That gap right there, that's where all our unnecessary anxiety comes from.
And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If people are actually enjoying the conversation, if they're sending positive signals, why are we so incredibly bad at picking up on them? Well, it turns out there are a couple of major cognitive biases working against us.
So culprit number 1 is our own inner critic. We are painfully aware of every little flaw in our own performance. In our head, we can hear ourselves fumbling for words or thinking a story isn't landing right. But guess what? The other person can't hear any of that. They're just enjoying the chat. It's like we're judging our own rough draft while they're just enjoying the finished product.
And this leads us right to the second big problem. We walk around feeling like we're the center of attention, that every little slip-up is being magnified for the entire world to see. Which, conveniently, brings us to the solutions. Okay, let's get into the toolkit. The very first strategy is all about actively redirecting your focus. Imagine your brain as a camera. You need to stop pointing it at yourself and just point it at the other person. So here's how you do it. You have to make a conscious shift. Instead of constantly monitoring yourself, get curious about them. Ask them questions. Actually listen to the answers. The research is so clear on this. The signals that they like you, nodding, smiling, asking you questions back, they're almost always there. You just miss them because you're too busy critiquing yourself. Focus outward, and you'll finally see what's actually happening.
All right, our second solution is this fantastic little mental hack. It's about using the knowledge of the liking gap itself as a weapon against your own brain's negativity. Think of it like a vaccine against social anxiety.
This is just so powerful because it all starts with awareness. Before you even walk into a party or a meeting, just give yourself a little reminder. Tell yourself, hey, remember that science thing? They are probably going to like me more than my brain tells me they will. So later, when that doubt starts to creep in, you can just label it. Ah, there it is. That's just the liking gap. It stops being a reflection of you and just becomes a weird, predictable bug in the human brain.
And for our final solution, this one is both a little humbling and at the same time incredibly freeing. We have to tackle that feeling of being constantly watched and judged. We need to turn down that spotlight.
This is the spotlight effect. It's our brain's natural tendency to think we're the main character in everybody else's movie. We feel like there's this bright, shining light on our every move, highlighting every single flaw. But the reality? It's not like that at all. I mean, look at this classic experiment. They had college students wear a super embarrassing t-shirt.
I think it had Barry Manilow on it, into a room full of other students. The person wearing the shirt was convinced that like half the room noticed and was judging them. But in reality, less than a quarter of the people even registered it. Why? Because everyone else was too busy worrying about their own spotlight.
And this is the line to tattoo on your brain. It's such a powerful reframe. Everyone you meet is the star of their own movie. They are way more concerned with their lines, their performance, and how they're coming across than they are with you. And honestly, that is fantastic news.
So what is the big takeaway from all of this? It really boils down to a simple but incredibly profound message, one that all the data points to.
This quote from the very researchers who named the liking gap just says it all perfectly. We are literally robbing ourselves of the full joy of connecting with people because we're listening to this faulty, hypercritical narrator inside our own heads.
And let's be really clear here, this is not some harmless little quirk. This mistaken belief makes us hesitate. It stops us from sending that follow-up email, from asking for help, from turning a nice chat into a real friendship. It's a real barrier to connection.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. The next time you walk away from a conversation and that inner critic starts its nonsense, I want you to remember the gap. Remember the science, because the odds are overwhelmingly in your favor that you made a much better impression than you think. And who knows, a potential friend or a mentor might just be on the other side of that gap, hoping you'll say hello again.